All right, let's get into some LeBron James headlines here as we enter the Eastern Conference Finals with his Cavs taking on those Celtics. And headline number one here, Harris, I do want to go back and talk about the domination of the Toronto Raptors here. LeBron averaged 34 points, 8.3 rebounds, 11.3 assists, went 55% from the field. His Game 2 performance, nothing short of exceptional.
It's just, to me, the one thing I love the most about LeBron James, and I've been called a LeBron James hater too many times in my life, and it's a shame because I like, by the end of his career, he's going to be the greatest player of all time. But the thing I love the most about him, every single time he gets to the playoffs, he always starts unleashing these new wrinkles. The ways that he's improved his game, the things that you don't see behind the scenes that he's working on. Some of the fadeaway jumpers that he was hitting against the Raptors were just things that we haven't seen him do before that were just amazing. Just these shots, just 15 to 20 feet away from the basket, doing pull-up fadeaway jumpers over defenders and nailing them with no problems at all. It's so special to be able to watch him play basketball. And at this point, he is the meteor that has destroyed the Raptors over and over and over again. At this point, it's just, every time we talk about LeBron James, I talk about the teams that he has just absorbed, being the black hole of the Eastern Conference, just taking away potential dynasties in the East. He destroyed the Big Three Celtics in the early 2010s. He dominated the Pacers. He took down the Hawks. And now he's taken down the Raptors, along with plenty of other Eastern Conference potential dynasties along the way. The Raptors are just another team that he has just devoured throughout his career. I can't wait to see what the second half of his career looks like and where he ends up going for agency. But this series against the Raptors might have been my favorite for his. He's unstoppable. Like, they could not do a single thing to do. It was incredible.
Kyle Lowry wanted to dethrone LeBron. That's what he said prior to the series. And how'd that go?
Lol. It's just not even possible.
So, great performance there from LeBron in that series. We'll see if he can carry that momentum against the Celtics. Let's get to headline number two. And a former teammate has spoken out. Richard Jefferson saying, Harris, LeBron and the team itself doesn't have what it takes to win the finals.
So I talked about with the Celtics how I don't know if they have enough to stop LeBron. But one thing that they're going to be able to do, boy, oh boy, are they going to make him work for it. This is not going to be easy for LeBron. And again, he's still playing so many minutes at 33 years old. I get it. He is the peak athlete. He's basically a Greek god of basketball at this point. But he is still mortal, and he does play a lot of minutes. And you know that Brad Stevens is going to push him to the limit. He knows how to force players that he's going up against to optimize their struggles. And for LeBron, he gets into trouble when fatigue starts to set in. His jump shot gets a little bit worse. He starts, missing the basket by a little bit. His strength around the rim gets a little bit less as the game goes on if you're able to tire him out. This calls me back to a couple of his finals appearances where the dude just ran out of steam. And he's going to have to go up against a lot of tough-nosed defenders. Marcus Morris, Jaylen Brown, Semi Ojeleye, Al Horford, Jason Tatum. Like, these are good defensive players that he is going to have to grind through for probably 5 or 6 more games. And then he's going to have to go up against Kevin Durant, who, mind you, is in the middle of the best defensive season of his career. I agree with Richard Jefferson. I think that LeBron is going to struggle in the finals. He's never going to have played more minutes going into an NBA Finals than he will this year.
So you're thinking fatigue is a very real narrative?
I think it is the narrative for LeBron going into the finals. How much can he realistically have in the tank? This is the greatest individual effort of any NBA season of all time. If he is able to get them to the finals at age 33 with the amount of minutes he is playing, no other player in NBA history has even come close to doing what he is doing.
Nor will another player ever do it.
Exactly. So we're in unprecedented territory here. So it's basically just wondering, when does it stop?
Right.
When can he finally run out of steam? Because if he doesn't, he's literally unstoppable. If he doesn't run out of steam, there will never be a time where I think he will again until he's like 38 years old. This is incredible.
All right. Jefferson won the 2016 title there with LeBron.
Also has a great podcast if you guys are interested. He's just a wild dude.
All right. There you go. Let's get to the next headline here. And James in the midst of history. Well, isn't he always? Well, how about this? So the only non-guard to average at least 9 rebounds and 9 assists per game in a single postseason was Wilt back in 1967. LeBron's in the process of doing so, as well as Draymond Green, Harris.
Draymond Green will go down as one of the most underrated players in NBA history. I understand that he's won all these awards and people still do like him. He's still underrated. That's how good he is. But what LeBron is currently doing like a season, I just mentioned this before, but it is completely unprecedented for the scale of basketball for LeBron to be doing what he's doing this year. Just at 33 years old, because mind you, we've seen players be able to rebound and get assists as well. You know, Russell Westbrook can do a lot of stuff, average a triple-double. James Harden, passes the ball well. He also rebounds pretty well. The one thing that gets me for LeBron James is his efficiency while doing this. He's shooting 50+% from the field. His three-point shooting percentage is up. His overall offensive rating is up. He's getting so many people involved that they had to push Rodney Hood to the bench, and Kevin Love has been completely reinvigorated and re-engaged. It is beyond the point of words. And we've been talking a lot about LeBron versus Jordan, who is the better one. Mm-hmm. Michael Jordan may be the better scorer all time. Michael Jordan may be the better clutch player of all time. I don't care. LeBron James is the greatest all-around basketball player that we will see or will have ever seen. He is the perfect model for what you need a basketball player to be. He's 6'8". He's a mammoth of a man. He is strong. He is fast. He is quick. He can dribble. He has handles. He can shoot. He can shoot threes. He can rebound. He checks off every single possible box that you could want out of an NBA player. More than Jordan, more than Wilt, more than Shaq, more than Larry Bird. Every single possible box that you need checked as a basketball player, he checks. We're out of things that he needs to do. Oh, he's not a clutch shooter. Meh, all right. Over the next 5 years of my career, I'm going to be the best fourth quarter shooter in NBA playoff history. We're out of excuses for him anymore. Yep. He's the greatest. It's insane.
All right, so with that, let's get into some LeBron-related rumors here, and we'll start things off with perhaps James to the Sixers picking up steam. So this coming from Chris Broussard, Harris, of FS1 here. We're giving this 2 crying Jordans, and so it's firmly in the rumor category. Yes. But with that, Broussard said LeBron is looking to, quote, play off the ball, which would fit with Ben Simmons, would it not?
Well, not just play off the ball for himself. I also think that the 76ers would be smart to bring him in because it would force Ben Simmons to start playing off the ball. I've actually thought about this a little bit more, LeBron going to the 76ers. I don't think it's as outrageous as I mentioned before. I think I was a little bit overstated with saying how ridiculous LeBron would be on the 76ers in terms of basketball formation. Look, if you can make LeBron James play off the ball and you can also make Ben Simmons a better player by making him play off the ball, I think that's better for Ben Simmons as a player. He has to learn how to shoot or he's just going to end up being Rajon Rondo, but 6'10". Magic Johnson learned how to score around the bucket for 30 points a game. I understand that Ben Simmons likes to get to the hoop, but you can only score so much by getting to the hoop. Right. 18 to 20 points a game by getting to the hoop is about the most that you're going to be able to get as a point guard. LeBron had to learn how to shoot, and he upped his points per game by 8 to 9 points over the course of about 2 to 3 seasons. So I don't think it's a bad move, but again, I just would like to see it on the court. I think the concept that I brought up a couple weeks ago of LeBron stunting Ben Simmons' progress and growth, I think was ill-informed. I think he would actually turn Ben Simmons into a more versatile basketball player by making him play more off of screens, off the ball, making him move a little bit better, not just trying to get to the hoop all the time.
So you're not in the camp of Charles Barkley and all these people?
Not anymore. I was before, but I sat down and thought, what would LeBron James bring to the 76ers? And he would just force them to make the players be better versions of themselves. Joel Embiid would have to be a better three-point shooter. Dario Saric would have to be better moving off the ball. JJ Redick would even need to be a little bit more of a playmaker just so that if LeBron gets the ball to him, he's not just shooting jump shots all the time. I think it would help the 76ers process overall, but again, I need to see it on the court.
All right, let's get to the next rumor for LeBron. The Lakers, are they the consensus for James? Somebody actually wrote this according to the OCR, OC register here, and Here is the reasoning, Harris. 2 max contracts in LA. We're giving this 2 crying Jordans, by the way, because it's still firmly in the rumor category. All right, so you got the 2 maxes. You got Randall, you got Ingram, you got Kuzma. So good young core there. And maybe the events play out where LeBron and Paul George are like, all right, let's do this.
So for me, it has come down to, LeBron, this is going to be the second half of his career. I mean, whatever team he goes to, you have to think he's going to stay there for at least 3 to 4 years. Well, let's say he stays there for a minimum of 3 years overall. Is he able to have the second half and the legacy of his career in Los Angeles? Because, look, this is a young team. Even if you bring Paul George, you're still dealing with Lonzo Ball. They probably will have to get rid of Julius Randle. Josh Hart is still going to be there. I wonder what the bench is going to be. Can Luke Walton stand up to the pressure of having LeBron James on his team and having to make a finals run when really they are not prepared as an overall franchise to make a finals run yet? I understand LeBron and Paul George is fun, but as I mentioned last week, I don't really see Paul George and LeBron as that great of teammates. I personally think that Paul George is one of the more overrated players in the NBA. I think you can find other players like Paul George for less money that can bring you something similar. I mean, look, a CJ Miles obviously is not Paul George, but you can pay CJ Miles half of what you're going to pay Paul George and get another player along with it.
So you don't use the max contract, the other one, on somebody else?
You do with Paul George.
Okay.
That's my problem with Paul George. The only way you're going to get him on your team is with a max contract. But I've always wondered, can you win a finals with Paul George as your first or second best player? Can you? I don't know. I don't think that he brings enough to the table as an overall just playmaker. Like, we saw it so many times with the Oklahoma City Thunder this year that it would be up to Russell Westbrook to make plays. I just don't know if Paul George does enough off the ball to warrant this crazy notion of being one of the 10 or 15 best players in the NBA. We saw the shortcomings he had with the Pacers. He can never get past LeBron because he couldn't do enough off the ball. We saw his shortcomings this year with the Thunder, not being able to do enough without the ball in his hand. And again, now you're giving him to LeBron James, who again, he's not going to have the ball in his hands. I don't see it there. I'm not crazy about it.
All right, 2 crying Jordans there. Let's get to the final LeBron rumor here. Any chance he remains in Cleveland? We'll give this 2 crying Jordans here. The rumor origin, USA Today, reporting that, of course, James hasn't really thought about it, went on to carry his team to the second round, dropping 45 points. And I'll tell you what, if the Pacers knocked off the Cavs in the first round, this would be a much different rumor, Harris. But maybe there is reason to believe LeBron will stay.
There might be. It really depends on how the conference finals and finals go. Because as we have on here, the Cavs are starting to gel. They are. And it's no surprise that it's taken this long. I mean, they've basically been playing with the new roster for the past month and a half, 2 months. I want to see LeBron, try to figure out these players. It seems that a lot of the time he's just trying to win all these games by himself. He has talent on this team. And they have a big-time draft pick, or maybe Kawhi Leonard coming in. We'll get to that a little bit later.
Yep.
But I am very inspired by what I've seen by LeBron James over the past couple months with Cleveland. I get he's trying to win a finals, but an engaged LeBron James on the Cavs is a good thing because he gave up in January and February before the trade deadline. He stopped caring. And now all of a sudden we see him playing the level he's at. I think it's good for him. I think it's good for the Cavs. Will he come back, though? I'm not sure. Whether he comes back or not is really going to depend on what happens with Dwayne Casey and the Raptors and the rest of the Eastern Conference, though.
All right, so that's the lowdown with the LeBron James Rumors Roundup.